Mr Chair, thank you very much for the call. As an Auckland MP, I rise to speak with considerable sadness about the Local Government Auckland Law Reform Bill, and today isn't quite the historic day I think that the member opposite was referring to, because we are in the committee stages at this stage on this bill. As an Auckland Member of Parliament, this bill affects me. It affects my access to representation in local government. It affects the services that are provided to me, to my neighbours, to the electorate I work in, to the people of Panmure, people of Ellerslie, the people of Onehunga. And you, across the House, members are fooling themselves if they believe that those people believe the sort of rhetoric about this is a great day for Auckland and that this is going to deliver all these fantastic outcomes, because Aucklanders do not believe you. They do not believe you on this. Now, this is the culmination of quite a considerable amount of work, the third bill, and this is about the future of Auckland's local government. And others have mentioned the appalling processes that took place around the Local Government Tamaki Makaurau Reorganisation Act and the Local Government Auckland Council Act. And I'm going to talk about general points in this first contribution, but you can rest assured that Auckland members from this side of the House will be rising to speak frequently and on the detail of this bill, so I can reassure Ms Kay of that matter. And I actually want to acknowledge Ms Kay of being one of the two national members in Parliament ready and willing in the House to speak on this, based in Auckland, and that's great that she's done that, so congratulations to her on that. Now, this bill will make Auckland's governance less transparent, less accountable and less responsive to Aucklanders. We object to 75% of Auckland Council assets being put into the hand of unelected CCOs. That is a point of principle, and one that is shared by overwhelming majority of Aucklanders. The local boards should have more power, and I think we will talk about that in quite a lot of detail and get into this argument about whether the provisions of this bill do indeed provide sufficient power. We say that this bill does not. Māori should have guaranteed representation, and the Council should have more community involvement. We are also concerned on this side of the House that this bill paves the way for privatisation of council assets. Again, another issue that Aucklanders feel strongly about, and that they do not believe National when they say that they're not interested in privatising council assets. Now, we've heard a lot of times that we have listened to Auckland and we have listened to Aucklanders. In fact, if I had $1 for every time I'd heard a member opposite say that, I'd indeed be a very rich person. And I sat in on the two bills that have actually gone to Select Committee on a number of occasions, and certainly heard on many occasions very sympathetically and earnestly stated comments about listening to Aucklanders. Well, the reality is that both in substance and in process, this bill is flawed, and the outcome does not show that you have listened. Sorry, Mr Chair, that the government has listened to Aucklanders. And the stakes are high here. This is New Zealand's largest city. A third of our population live in Auckland. It is the entryway for most people visiting our country. It is the exit for many of our exports. It is a very important city, and it's a place where many of us live, raise our families, go to school, go to work, try and enjoy ourselves and enjoy what is, as Mr Shearer said, an incredibly beautiful city. The stakes are high here in getting this right. But what are we facing? We're facing centralisation of power, both with the mayoral powers and both in terms of the lack of genuine authority being given to the local boards. We are facing community becoming corporate. We are facing transparency becoming opaqueness. And one of the things that saddens me the most about this is that this is a real missed opportunity. The value of local government, the public good that is done by local government is not well understood. Mr Chair.
Carol Beaumont.
Thank you, Mr Chair. The public good that is done by local government is not well understood by New Zealanders, and I think that the missed opportunity is the opportunity to ensure that we took Aucklanders with us on this journey. We used the opportunity to inform people of the role of local government, to actually find out what they want from their local government, to improve understanding of the processes of local government and how people can participate. This could have been a real opportunity to engage properly with Aucklanders, to commit to some key principles, to commit to an appropriate time frame instead of what we've seen, a very rushed job all the way through, and to try and build a high degree of consensus about the sort of Auckland we want. And that takes time, and it takes a commitment to that process, because Auckland is an incredibly diverse city. It is clearly the most diverse city in New Zealand. We want... I have, in fact, Mr Bridges, been to Tauranga quite recently. As I was saying, Auckland is a very diverse city. It has some of the richest New Zealanders and some of the poorest. There are many social issues that we need to deal with in Auckland. And I have to say this process has really missed the opportunity to talk to Aucklanders about all of those things and to build that consensus and to really put in place some reforms that would have stood the test of time. And I want to acknowledge the efforts of Aucklanders to try and have their say. People have been on the streets, they have protested, they have written submissions, they have attended meetings, and I've been impressed, absolutely impressed by the quality of the submissions that people have made when we have had select committee on 2 of the 3 Auckland bills. And on this one, there were 786 submissions, of which 348 were heard by the select committee. And I want to acknowledge each and every one of those people. Certainly in the area I work in the Maungakea electorate, there were some very fine submissions made from a range of groups, from existing local government politicians, business associations, community groups, young people's groups, lots of very good quality submissions. But what we've ended up with is just a continuation of the approach of this government, which is spin. It's all about messaging. We are listening. We are listening. We have listened. And a number of tokenistic changes that are meant to reassure Aucklanders that they have been listened to. And I have to say, one of the things that was really interesting in the select committee process on the 3rd bill was that people had seen through that. So at the 2nd bill, when Mr Carter and others said, we are listening, people gave them the benefit of the doubt, actually. They thought, OK, they're listening to us, they're going to do these things. And when people submitted to the 3rd bill, there was just an enormous anger from many submitters because they knew that they had not been listened to at all. I want to just talk about a number of issues to do with what this means. Ironically, it may well mean a better turnout in our local government elections this time because of the level of anger, and that will be a good thing, and hopefully that will mean a decent council that will try and make the best, as others have said, out of what is here. But the government does need to take heed of the view of Aucklanders, and I know that's not something that they're keen to do, but I just quote you a little bit from the Onehunga Community News, a fine monthly publication, and it says, supporters of this legislation must take heed. There are many areas which give grave cause for concern. If the new structures limit people's perception of their ability to practice democracy locally, then they still have a national election on the horizon. The 2012 election gives, the 2011 election gives the super city a year to get bedded in. Or will local MPs discover the truth of the adage, he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword? Aucklanders are angry, will hold the government for account, for these changes. So there is an opportunity here. We will be raising a number of SOPs through the committee stages. I urge the government to look at those SOPs, to look at improving it. Whawhatai soifua.
The Honourable